Meanwhile, a Fox News alert in the wake of the London terror attacks, President Trump delivering a blunt message, tweeting, "We must stop being politically correct and get down to the business of security for our people. If we don't get smart, it will only get worse." And our next guest thinks the president has a point.
And if you think about it, 7 attacks in 2 years in Europe and 3 in a row in Britain. It's a lesson he learned by interrogating 9/11 mastermind Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, Abu Zubaydah, and so many others. And was he right?
Here to explain is the man who developed the CIA's enhanced interrogation program. He's also the author of an excellent book called Enhanced Interrogation, Dr. James Mitchell. Good morning, Dr. Mitchell.
Thank you for having me on.
You're welcome. What did KSM say to you when you were interrogating him?
Well, one of the things that he said to me was that we lack the political will, well, not the motivation and will to do the things that must be done to stop, in part because we wanted the whole world to like us and because we were afraid of criticism. You know what? He said that our freedoms and civil liberties were weapons that Allah had placed on this planet so that it would be easier for them to defeat us. And as we talked about radicalization, he scoffed at the idea, really, that we were going to be able to prevent that, in part because of our religious freedom and because of the political correctness that acts as a cloaking device. His point, I think, to paraphrase what he was saying, is that under the guise of political freedom, people who want to destroy us can come to our country, they can set up mosques, they can spread their jihadi message, and they can recruit people into these things, all without committing any crimes. And when you push back against that, they claim that you're violating their religious freedom. So the hard work of radicalization is already done before we do anything, before a crime is committed, before anything is detected.
But Jim, how much good, if any, could a Muslim mayor of London do by speaking up and saying, this does not represent the Islam that I study? And those people amongst us in our community who do this and go into a rant at them. Does he have more credibility within the Muslim community than anybody else?
Well, my take on what he said was that it's naive, right? He's a Muslim and he's entitled to his opinion, but the suggestion that Islam, as it's practiced by the Jihadis, is not Islam and that it's a religion of peace is ridiculous. If you take the 1924 Cairo version of the Quran, which is the Quran that's the mainstream Quran, there are over 100 verses in which they call for violence against non-Muslims, including several verses where they call for an unending war against non-Muslims until everyone is either converted, subjugated, slaughtered, or enslaved. That's not peace.
Yeah, Dr. Mitchell, a moment ago you mentioned political correctness, a cloaking device, I think it was your expression. And the President of the United States said the political correctness has to end. And you say that the terrorists have used political correctness to spread their message. Explain how that works.
Well, again, like I said, they set up these organizations that appear to be outreach organizations, but they're actually spreading their violent ideology. Or even, let's go back to something that that Prime Minister May said. Prime Minister May said, we must do a better job of teaching Western values. Well, the odds are pretty good that those people that attacked her were born in Britain and grew up in Britain. If they don't understand Western values by now, either there's something horribly wrong with the school system in Britain or there's something horribly wrong with the Muslim community. And the political correctness that we experience here in America prevents us from holding the Muslim community responsible for allowing this festering to take place in their midst. They're the ones who should be offended by it. They're the ones who should be standing up and pushing it out and not being politically correct, because if it doesn't represent their Islam and it doesn't represent what their Quran, then they need to get up and do something about it.
Wow. All right, Dr. James Mitchell, author of Enhanced Interrogation. You can also download the audio book if you prefer to listen to it while you're driving. It's great. It's an excellent read.
It is. Dr. Mitchell, thank you very much. Meanwhile, 31